I am a housewife and have been married for 10 years. My children are growing up, and my husband is busy with his demanding schedule. I spend my days taking care of them and managing the household. Life feels repetitive, and a quiet emptiness always lingers in the corner of my heart. That day, after finishing my chores, I picked up a book and went to a nearby cafe. I settled into my usual corner, sipping tea while reading. An hour passed, and it was soon time to head home. After a quick visit to the restroom, I reached for my book on the table to put it in my bag. It was then that I noticed a folded note tucked between the pages. I opened it and read,
Hello, I've seen you reading at the cafe several times. It seems we share a similar taste in books, which caught my attention. I thought this book was wonderful, as it offers valuable perspectives on life.
I looked around, trying to find out who had left the note. But it was impossible to tell who the writer was. So I simply closed the book and went home. I told myself it was just a small, curious incident. After that day, however, something strange kept happening. Every time I went to the restroom before leaving the cafe, a new letter appeared on top of my book when I came back. The letters were mostly about thoughts and impressions on the book I was reading. To my surprise, we seemed to share very similar ideas. Soon, I found myself wanting to talk to this mysterious person. One day, I decided to find out who it was. I pretended to go to the restroom, but instead hid behind a wall and watched my table. That day, no letter appeared. I began to think that maybe this person didn't want to talk face to face. So I decided to write a reply. I thought that if I left it on top of my book before going to the restroom, that person might find it. In my letter, I wrote about the book, my thoughts on their opinions, and the authors I liked. I also mentioned that exchanging letters was nice, but meeting in person could be even better. The next day, while reading at the cafe, it was almost time to go home when I remembered the letter I had written. I placed it on my book. On the envelope, I wrote, "To my secret friend." To be honest, I didn't really need to go to the restroom that day. But I did anyway, hoping to find a new letter when I came back. When I returned to my seat, the letter I had written was gone. In its place, a new one was sitting on my book. That person had taken mine and left a reply. I was curious about who that person was. But the mystery made everything feel exciting, so I decided to enjoy it as it was. We kept exchanging letters and slowly grew closer. I didn't know the person's gender or age, yet I never felt uncomfortable. I was drawn to the depth of their thoughts and the way they understood life. Before long, our letters went beyond books. We started sharing small stories from our everyday lives. We became like friends who shared our deepest thoughts and feelings. It was strange we didn't know each other, but somehow we understood each other so well. This secret connection became a small joy in my quiet, repetitive days. 2 months passed. That day, I picked up another letter lying on top of a book and left the cafe as usual. But at the entrance, I missed a step and stumbled. I fell against a nearby table, knocking everything onto the floor. Among the fallen things was the letter I had written that very morning. The owner of that table turned out to be my secret friend.
Are you okay?
He asked, helping me up gently. I looked at him. He had brown hair and deep emerald eyes. It was him, my secret friend. He was tall, with a strong build. I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I couldn't say a word. The person I had been so curious about was suddenly standing in front of me. I picked up my letter from the floor and handed it to him. "This is yours, isn't it?" I said. He frowned slightly, then smiled awkwardly as he took the letter. For a moment, I didn't know what to do. Should I greet him warmly or pretend we were still strangers? We didn't say anything more, yet it felt like we understood each other perfectly. And in that silent moment, we both decided to keep our secret friendship as it was. I grabbed my bag and left the cafe. The next day, I hesitated to go back. We had always been secret friends. But now I knew he was a man. A very attractive one. When our eyes met, my mind went blank. Something told me that if we ever talked face to face, we could never stay just friends. I looked at the ring on my finger. Then at the family photo on the shelf. I decided not to go to the cafe again. Days passed, but I couldn't stop thinking about him. They were just letters, I told myself. Maybe I'm overreacting. Then another voice inside whispered, "No, you felt it too, that danger." I argued with myself all day long. My heart swinging back and forth like a pendulum. A week later, I finally returned to the cafe. I opened a book, trying to act as if nothing had changed. But I couldn't focus. After about an hour, I went to the restroom. When I came back, there was a letter on my book. It was from him. At home, I opened it carefully.
Since the day we met, you haven't come to the cafe. I've been worried. I don't know if something happened, or if you were upset with me. In your very first letter, you once said you wanted to meet in person. I didn't agree then, and now I think I finally understand why. I often saw you at the cafe before we started writing. I noticed we liked the same books. That made me curious about you. But then I saw the ring on your hand, and realized you were married. I still wanted to talk innocently, but something held me back. So I began writing letters instead. And those letters became the happiest part of my days. What started as light conversation turned into something deeper, something honest and rare. When we met that day, I didn't know what to say. You left before I found the words. I've written to you every day since, though I couldn't deliver the letters. I hope this one reaches you. I'd like to stay as we were, friends who share thoughts through letters. But if you wish to end it, I'll understand, though it will hurt.
Reading his words, I realized he was as confused as I was. We were both caught in something fragile, beautiful, but uncertain. I put his letter away and busied myself with chores. Anything to quiet my mind. I cleaned the entire house for days, as if scrubbing away my thoughts. Another week passed. One morning, after sending the kids to school, I sat by the window and thought, I don't want to worry about this anymore. Our letters had been a small part of my life, but a meaningful one. It's rare to meet someone who shares your thoughts and feelings so closely. Through our letters, I had expressed emotions I couldn't share even with my husband. He felt like a soulmate, similar, yet refreshingly different. But could I truly stay just friends with someone I was drawn to this deeply? The look we shared at the cafe told me the answer. Maybe we both knew from that moment that our friendship could never remain completely innocent. He was a man I could easily fall for. Yet I loved my husband, and I wanted to protect my family. So I made my choice. I wouldn't step any closer to the edge of temptation. That night, I took out a sheet of paper and wrote, "To my secret friend, I wonder if you've worried about me these past days. I've been fine just thinking. Knowing who you are has made things different for me. When you were a mystery, I could write freely, without holding back. I loved our letters too. You gave me comfort and joy. But I think it's time to let this be a beautiful memory. Please remember me kindly. After I leave this letter, I won't return to the cafe again. Don't write to me anymore. I truly wish you happiness. From your secret friend." The next day, I went to the cafe. After reading for a while, I left my letter on the book and went to the restroom. When I came back, my letter was gone, and a new one from him was waiting for me. I took it, but didn't open it. On my way home, I dropped it in a trash bin. I knew that if I read it, I'd want to reply again, and the cycle would never end. Tears filled my eyes as I walked away, though I couldn't name the feeling. Months later, one weekend, I went to a bookstore with my husband and children. While choosing books with the kids, I suddenly felt someone's gaze. From across the aisle about 5 meters away, he was standing there, looking at me. For a brief moment, time stopped. I still thought of him sometimes. And each time, it brought a quiet sadness. But now, I smiled. He smiled back. We didn't speak, but in that brief exchange, it felt like we said everything that needed to be said. Then he turned, paid for his books, and left. I went back to choosing books with my children.